All right, so today we are going to start by just the basic way of how to graph an absolute value. So let's first talk about what absolute value is. So absolute value is the distance a number is from zero, and it is always positive. Okay, you've seen absolute value before probably, but now we're going to you've never graphed them though. So first let's talk about what is the absolute value of -4. So how far is -4 from 0? Well, it's 4 away. Okay, the absolute value of 7 is 7. This one's a little bit different. Whenever you have stuff going on inside the absolute value, you have to solve what's inside first before you take the absolute value. So first we need to do the 3 minus 7. So that would give you the absolute value of -4. Now that there's only one number in there, you can take the absolute value, and it's +4. Okay, this next one is 2 minus 6 inside the absolute value, so we need to do that first. So that would be -4. Okay, I'm just going to drop down that -8. Now, before you subtract them, you need to, since that -8 is on the outside, don't even worry about it yet. You got to get rid of the absolute value symbols first. So take the absolute value of -4, and that's 4. And now we have 4 minus 8, which would give you -4. And a lot of people would say, Mrs. Schroeder, I thought you said it would always be positive. Well, the absolute value part was positive. The other part with the -8 on the outside, that's what caused it to be negative, and that is okay. All right, so here is the basic way to graph anything, no matter what kind of graph it is, if it's a line, absolute value, parabola, whatever. If you ever forget the tricks of how to graph things, you can always make a table and plot the points. Okay, always. All right, so on this, let's pick some points. We just have, this is called... this graph is the basic graph of absolute value. So it says y equals absolute value of x. You'll find out later this is called the parent function. So on the next day's notes, the parent function, we do a lot with that. So just know if this is just the basic graph. Okay, so whenever you're doing this, you pick some points for x and plug them in. So I'm going to pick about 5, so -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so let's pick or plot those points. Or sorry, I have to plug them in, my bad. So you're going to plug in each one of those in just for this x and solve it. Whatever your answer is, that's your y coordinate. So plug in -2 for the x. What's the absolute value of -2? Well, it's 2. Then plug in -1. What's the absolute value of -1? That's 1. Absolute value of 0 is 0. Absolute value of 1 is 1. And absolute value of 2 is 2. Okay, now I'm going to plot these points. So the first point, this is like an ordered pair. So you go over to -2, up to 2. Over to -1, up to 1. 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. So if you notice, this absolute value makes this beautiful V. I don't know, mine's not too beautiful, but hopefully yours is. So it makes this V. Actually, I'm going to try to draw those lines better. Okay. That's terrible, but we're going to pretend. Okay, so it's going to be something like that. So what do you notice? Let's just talk about this graph. What do you notice about the slope over on the right side? What's the slope of the right side? Well, it looks like it's up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1 a couple times, right? So this slope is going to be +1. And then this other one is a negative slope, and it's going down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. So this side is -1, okay? So, and then if you notice, this starts at 0, 0. And all of these things are because it is the basic parent function of absolute value. So next lesson, we're going to get more into this, but I'm just letting you kind of recognizing a few things now. Okay, let's do letter B. Okay, now we have a minus 2 on the outside. Something's different is going to happen. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to make a table, plot the points. So I'm just going to pick the same exact points. Okay, so -2, we got to plug it in for the x, and I'm going to do it verbally. If you do need a calculator, your Desmos calculator will do it, or if you're having a little trouble, just ask me whenever you're in class and I can show you how. So that you take the absolute value of -2, which is 2, and then you minus the 2 on the outside. So that would give you 0. Okay, the next one, absolute value of -1 is 1. 1 minus 2 would be -1. Absolute value of 0 is 0. Minus 2 would be -2. Absolute value of 1 is 1. Minus 2 is -1. Absolute value of 2 is 2. Minus 2 would give you 0. Okay, so plot this. Go over to -2, 0. -1, -1. 0, -2. 1, -1. 2, 0. Okay, so and it's going to look something like this. So what do you notice about this graph compared to the last one, to letter A? Well, it looks like the slopes are still, the slope on this one is +1 on the right and -1 on the left, right? So the slope's the same. But what do you notice about the vertex, which this part right here, that's called your vertex, by the way. So it looks like the vertex has been shifted down 2. Cool. So it's the same graph, it's just shifted down 2. All right. Let's do the next one. So let's pick some points. Let's just keep on keeping on. So -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. This time the stuff is inside the absolute value, so I have to do -2 minus 4 will give me -6. -1 minus, oh sorry, I forgot to take the absolute value, my bad. So it gives you -6, then you got to take the absolute value, my fault, which would be 6. -1 minus 4 is -5. Absolute value would be 5. 0 minus 4 is -4. Absolute value would be +4. 1 minus 4 is -3. Absolute value it, you get 3. 2 minus 4 would be -2. Absolute value would be 2. Okay, plot these points. -2, 6, -1, 5, 0, 4, 1, 3, and 2, 2. Okay, we have a problem. Do you see the problem? Well, the problem is this should look like a V, and it looks like it's a line. So I guarantee you there's going to be at least one person in your class that will, on your test, will graph an absolute value like this. Don't be that person, okay? Absolute values are always in a V. Okay, so on this, since it's not in a V, what the problem is we didn't pick the right points to be on the other side or the right side of the V. Okay, so let's keep picking points. I'm going to teach you a shortcut here in just a second, but let's just pick points. I'm going to tell you which ones. Let's do 3, 4, 5, and 6 for fun. Okay, I'll teach you a shortcut so you don't have to pick this many points in the future. But, so let's plug in 3. 3 minus 4 is -1. Absolute value of that is 1. 4 minus 4 is 0. Absolute value of that is 0. 5 minus 4 is 1. Absolute value of that is 1. 6 minus 4 is 2. Absolute value of that is 2. Okay, I'm going to plot those few points. So I have 3, 1, 4, 0, 5, 1, and 6, 2. So as you can see, now we're starting to move up. Okay, so that is good. Even though one side has more points than the other, it's okay, it doesn't matter. just make sure if you are you're picking points and you don't have enough points to make it a V, keep picking them because they will be showing up. Okay, here is the trick to the shortcut. Okay, so part 1 is set what is inside the absolute value equal to 0. Okay, step 2 is solve for x. Step 3 is that is your center x point. I should say coordinate, that's okay. All right, so in this case, what's inside the absolute value is this piece. So for this one, I would have done x, keep doing that. So x minus 4 equals 0, because you set what's inside equal to 0. Solve for x, so I need to add 4 to both sides. So x equals 4. All right, that right there is my center x coordinate. So right there, look, we got 4 as our center x. So that's kind of the trick to help you pick your points so you don't have to spend all day picking a million points. Let's do another one. So this time it's y equals absolute value of x plus 5 on the inside and plus 3 on the outside. So now it's like, oh, we didn't even, hold on, let's go back to the other one, sorry. What do you notice about this graph compared to the parent function? Well, it looks like the slopes are 1 and -1, but it shifted to the right 4. Okay, so that's kind of cool. They can shift up and down, left and right. So it looks like this is going to have 2 things happening, and I know that because there's something here and something there. But let's see what happens. So first, to figure out what our x coordinates that we need to pick are, we need to set the piece that's inside, don't worry about the plus 3 right now, equal to 0. So I would have x plus 5 equals 0. Let's solve it. So I would minus 5, minus 5. So x equals -5. So your center x coordinate, where the vertex will be at -5. So I'm going to put that right there. Okay. So now I need to pick 2 numbers that are smaller than -5. So let's just say -6 and -7. And then 2 numbers that are larger than -5, which let's say -4 and -3. You can pick, oh gosh, I gotta rewrite that. But you can pick different numbers, it doesn't matter, because it'll still be connected. Because you're gonna draw the line and it'll go through the points. Okay, let's plug it in. If you want, use your calculator on this. If you're not that great at mental math, that is okay. Put it in your calculator. Okay, so -7 plus 5 would be -2. Take the absolute value, that's 2, plus 3 would be 5. -6 plus 5 is -1. Absolute value is 1, plus 3 would be 4. -5 plus 5 is 0. Absolute value of that is 0, plus 3 would be 3. -4 plus 5 is 1. Absolute value of that is 1. Plus 3 would be 4. And then -3 plus 5 would be 2. Absolute value is 2. Plus 3 would be 5. Okay, so let's go ahead and plot our points. So I'm going to go -7, 5, -6, 4, -5, 3, -4, 4, and -3, 5. Okay. So that is our graph. So it looks like it's shifted to the left and up. Okay, so now let's just do one more. I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to go a little quick on this. So I'm going to got to set the inside equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0. Add 2, x equals +2. So +2 is my center point. Now I'm going to pick 2 numbers smaller, so let's just do 1 and 0, and 2 numbers bigger, 3 and 4. Okay, so 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Absolute value would be 2. Minus 3 is negative 1. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Absolute value is 1. Minus 3 is negative 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Minus 3 is negative 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. Absolute value of that is 1. Minus 3 would be 2. Negative 2, I'm sorry. And then 4 minus 2 is 2. Absolute value 2. Minus 3 would be negative 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph these. 0, negative 1. 1, negative 2. 2, negative 3. 3, negative 2. And 4, negative 1. Okay, and it looks like that. All right, that is it for the basic way of how to graph absolute values. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.